So what's going on?
Well, I haven't been sleeping really well lately, so that's been frustrating.
Lately, like how lately?
Probably the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like I wake up and I don't know. I just get really stimulated when I wake up and anxious, and when I fall asleep, I feel the same way.
Wow.
I have been playing a lot more video games before bed, just trying to fill up the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's connected to the waking up, you think?
Yeah, most definitely. It's kind of a bit of a catch-22 because I like using it to fill up the space throughout the day to make me feel better, but it also keeps me up, and that sometimes drags me down the next day.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill up the space, I guess, because I don't have a whole lot of friends here because I just moved about a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so, it can be tough to find friends, I'm sure you know.
And you're kind of figuring out what to do with yourself, and so it's the video game.
Yeah, just kind of filling the void a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said it's been hard to make friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to reach out to people. It's tough to go into new places and try and put yourself out there and figure out what's going on, and meet a group of friends to get close with. It's a lot of loneliness when you move away from home and you don't have that social support that you used to have. It's historically been family, when you're growing up, and then you have close friends, and you go to college. Well, at least for me, college was relatively close to family, so I still had a little bit of that to fall back on, which isn't the case now. I moved a bit further, and so yeah, and I don't know, after you move away from college, you lose that circle of friends. Invariably, you're wanting to keep in touch, but you just don't tend to do so.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you feel, it sounds like this is a big contrast to what you were experiencing before. Before, I guess at least in college, you had this tight
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah, I feel like I was a lot more confident then too.
Yeah.
Once I started the job, you feel like you make a lot of mistakes, and it drives down your confidence. It's less of taking tests and you know what you are, right? You're an A guy or an A- guy, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't have a whole lot of confidence in myself anymore. So.
Because before you had this clear feedback, like in terms of grades, is that the difference?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I had the clear feedback, it was certainly nice. But I don't know. I just feel like once you start making mistakes and you've had a few failures under your belt, it's hard to have confidence in yourself and build back up from that. So.
And that confidence translates also into social activities or being able to make new friends.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you put it pretty much perfectly. It's you have to be confident to put yourself out there, and so I feel like because I don't have a whole lot of self-confidence and self-worth, it's hard for me to go into a room again like I used to and walk in there and make friends easily, and because of that I'm just super freaking lonely, and it just perpetuates itself.
Yeah.
Because each interaction that I have with someone, it'll not be confidence inducing, and then I think about it again the next time, and it keeps me from making friends, and there I am filling up the void, and I end up being overstimulated and I can't sleep, and then
Yeah.
I feel bad about that and bad in general because everybody feels bad when they
You're
can't
kind
sleep.
of failing on all fronts. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not taking care of yourself, you're not
Yeah.
doing well enough at work to feel confident and
Exactly.
walk into a room and make friends.
Yep.
That sounds very painful. And again, such a big contrast, right? From having the support group, moving away, them fading. It sounds like you're not really staying close during this time. You were thinking you would be staying close, but everybody's kind of doing their own thing in the meantime because of work stuff. your sense of I don't know what to call it, worth, your confidence is going down, which then makes it hard to meet people, and then being lonely adds to the lack of confidence, and you're kind of stuck in this
Most
negative social occupational loop.
Yeah, and I mean that's all encompassing, you know. If you feel like in your social life you don't have any confidence, in your work life you don't have any confidence, and you feel like you're losing your sleep quality, that's pretty much your life. You know, that's everything.
Yeah.
So it's just a slippery slope.
Yeah, it becomes feels like a very one-way highway.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow. And you said that's been the last couple months?
Yeah, it's been the past couple months. It's come to a crescendo. It's something that developed after college for sure. You know, that's when you get to meet a lot of people. And then you go into the workplace and you have a much more closed in that work, and I don't know, you want to separate work and social stuff, so you try and move away from the work co-workers and things like that when you're looking for friends, but you know, you go out and you don't have a whole lot of success.
So even the times that you did try, you feel like you kind of gave it an honest shot, but didn't work?
I don't know. I might have. It's tough when you have an easier fallback to just not try and put the effort forward. It's easier to do that, you know. It's
the fallback being the video game?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or just any disengagement from social circles and things like that. Because it's tough. You have to build it up, you know. And then I feel like, well, I'm here for school again, or work again, or whatever, and you know, what happens once people start moving away again? It's like, what's the point? You know, why keep making these things when people keep moving away, and you're not sure how long you're going to be here or whatever. So
yeah, it's a lot of effort to put into what is most likely going to be a temporary relationship.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, that's a lot of reasons, right, not to have an easy time making friends, right? You're not totally sure you want to because it's temporary.
Yeah.
You're not feeling confident just about kind of presenting yourself because it sounds like you're getting some negative feedback at work.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I'm guessing you're feeling just physically worse because of sleep.
Yeah. I might just be putting too much pressure on it, you know? I might just need to relax a little bit and not take it so seriously.
Not to take so seriously?
Probably the social aspect. You know, work's probably good to take seriously. But the social stuff, I mean, it's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to be relaxed, and you really never know how long you're going to be at some place, so you might as well enjoy it. And I feel like I know that deep down, but still it's tough to get past that barrier of, am I wasting my time trying to make friends?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Let me check if I'm getting it. So I think I understand what you're saying about feeling like you're putting too much pressure on yourself to make friends, right? Like there's a scorecard and you're coming back every day and you're like, still 0.
Yeah.
And that becomes very stressful and takes the joy out of it.
Yeah.
So that part I understood. I think you said something else that I didn't totally get.
Okay.
Do you remember what you were saying?
In regards to
The next thing, or did that capture what you were saying?
No, that's a lot of it. Yeah.
Okay, so far, what I'm hearing is that you used to have a good social circle you were happy with, family, friends. You moved away. That social circle did not remain close. So you've been feeling lonely since you moved away from there and into here.
Yeah.
So that's one part of it, and then at work, you've been feeling also, I guess, less successful than you were at school, and that's been chipping away at your self-confidence.
Which you can finish up.
Oh, go ahead.
Which, connects with confidence enough to try and meet other people.
Yeah, it bleeds over, right? Your sense of how successful you are at work also influences your sense of how likely people are to want to be your friends, I guess.
No, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Success at work, but just, I don't know, success with your interactions at work or success with your tasks at work. I feel like I compare it to success with the task of making friends, the task of having good small talk, whatever it may be. So if you don't excel at one thing, it makes sense not to excel at the other.
Yeah, you're kind of either a winner or a loser,
Yeah, for sure.
and you're feeling like less of a winner than you did when you were a student.
Yeah.
And then you have this other thing that you can do to feel better, right? Play video games, and so you do that.
Like a short fix,
And then it ends up hurting your sleep. Yeah, and I guess as I'm saying it, it gets kind of more organized in my head that there's one thing hurting your confidence is what's happening at work. Another is that it sounded like you were saying at the beginning there were a few times when you reached out to new people and didn't really feel like anything came of it, so that's another ding. And then it sounds like you don't feel good about the fact that you play video games the way that you do now.
Yeah.
And that in itself is another ding, right? Saying, oh, I'm going there.
Yeah.
And then that adds maybe to also sleep trouble, which I become a raging beast when I don't sleep well. So
do I. And I'm already a raging beast when I sleep well.
So so that's a lot of chips. And then the last thing chipping away is the fact that you feel pressure to make friends, not just because you want friends, but because it's also another task to succeed or fail at.
I think that sums it up pretty well. I mean, I feel like the only other thing I could probably add is you tend to be a lot more outgoing with less pressure, and I felt like with family always nearby or things to fill up the gaps, it just left less pressure for the other social interactions.
There was a safety net. It wasn't such a high wire act.
Yeah, for sure. So as now, make good friends or else you're completely alone versus
It's too important.
make good friends, but you still have great family that you're always gonna have to hang out with.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have to be really, really crappy with your family to get them out. So versus a casual acquaintance.
yeah. So there's no safety net now. This feels like it's much higher stakes,
Yeah.
right? It's like make friends or be alone.
Yep.
So there's that much more pressure on it.
Yeah.
It's hard to be relaxed, which is part of how you would normally go about making friends, is being relaxed.
Yeah. That's how it is. More pressure. If you start putting it on yourself, it just makes it harder to do other things, and then when you make it harder, it's harder. And so when it's something more difficult, there's even more pressure. So it just keeps
Building, yeah.
self-feedback loop. Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. Is this a good time, or do you have more to
No.
share about this?
Ask away.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
So one thing that I realized I just don't know is how important it is to have friends sort of physically with you or family as opposed to not, because you were saying that the social circle from college has dissipated,
Yeah.
but that you're also less in contact now with family. But I wonder if there are people, either individuals from that social circle or your family members, that you could sort of use more for a sense of being connected to humanity and to people who care about you, and using that as a way to not feel so alone. That in a way that creates so much pressure on you, like you were saying, right? That way to reduce that pressure by connecting more with the people that you know care about you and are close to, but I don't know if that's something that would work for you in terms of how you do social relationships.
No, it's I guess it depends on the person, you know. You have the friends where you can have a good conversation with on FaceTime or whatever video app you want to do. You can talk with them for an hour or two, no problem, right? There's always something to say. They know how to drive the dynamic. It's no issue.
And does that help feel like you're connected to a human?
Yeah, it does. But sometimes it's hard after a long day. You know, you don't want to have that intense of a conversation, and you got that good close friend that you've had for 5-10 years, but you know, they just, sometimes it's nice to fill in the extra stuff with playing pool or you know, playing basketball or
so
things
hanging
like that.
out with a good
Yeah,
friend as
exactly.
opposed to like
Yeah, right there,
Yeah.
conversing.
yeah.
If the conversation's not going, you're just sitting there staring at each other.
Yeah.
Versus, you know,
Doing stuff.
Yeah, and I guess that comes with pressure.
Yeah.
Right. So you have less pressure to make the conversation drive itself, compared to, you know, when you got a small little activity that you can do.
Yeah. Because I guess I was wondering if, I mean, the main direction I was wondering is whether or not there's a way for you to use those existing relationships in your life, and yes, lean on them more in order to feel more connected. So, and I can imagine a couple of variations, but again, I don't know if they would work for you, right? So one is maybe with either family or friends that you're feeling close with and really comfortable with, just scheduling a time just so you have human contact. Because I know, at least for me, like it's shockingly easy to get into a place where I just haven't spoken with anyone for a while.
No, it definitely is.
And I just start feeling like an alien.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just having these scheduled touch points where it's not about whether or not I'm in the mood.
Sure.
It's like,
It needs to happen.
it's Thursday at 7, we're having dinner together in front of the computer.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk.
I think that makes a good amount of sense. It'll take some motivation and all that to try and make sure it stays consistent. You don't back out of it, you know, because you know, you'll get one buddy who tends to back out of it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you know, you start consistently making the appointment, not appointment, but you know, dinner together or whatever it may be, the phone call, FaceTime. But you know, you expect that call or the text a couple hours before is hey,
Yeah.
I actually got this thing I need to do. Can we reschedule it? So, yeah,
Right, so it'll take finding the right person
sure.
for it to be consistent.
And some of that's tough because you feel like you found the right person with a friend, but friends are different with different dynamics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe even a couple, right? Maybe it's like family on a weekend night, friend on some weekday night, and having dinner. I like the idea of, I used to do that, having dinner in front of a computer with a friend
Yeah.
when I moved cross country.
Nice.
And we would just have dinner together once a week.
Oh, that's cool.
It was a very early dinner for him, but he eats dinner early at night, dinner late, so it worked out.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's perfect when you have someone who's a super early bird and the other one's a late owl,
Yeah,
and the time zones tend to hold true.
yeah. Thanks for sharing this.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I wish I had, you know, some genius suggestions, but it
No,
sounds
you-
like a tough time.
You brought up a lot of good things that I hadn't really thought about, and when I'm talking about it, I tend to think it through a bit better, and you weren't really telling me what I was feeling or anything. You were just kind of helping me talk through it, so no, it felt good.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.